Hi guys, welcome back to Toto Capital. My name's Liam, and in this video I'm going to break down the exact setups that I'm looking at taking this week and the exact actionable trades that you can look at executing within the financial week in the markets. So let's just jump straight in. Initially, let's start off with USD JPY, dollar against the Japanese yen. Okay, I'm currently in this trade here, and the reason why is if we drop to the daily, let's zoom in here for you guys. You can see we had this fractal high. Let's make this clear. So we had this fractal high here, fractal high. So we marked that on as our point of liquidity. You can see this is the daily time frame, so this is sort of your higher time frame perspective. We had that shift, that run on liquidity, then we had the reclaim back below this level. Let's drop down to the lower time frame to have a look at what that looks like. So when we drop to the hourly, this is your daily fractal here. Okay, we had that run of liquidity. You can see all of the stops that were resting above here. Okay, we ran that liquidity, then we reclaimed this level. We closed back below. Entries were on this area here, on this retest. Stop loss just above clear and validation. And currently, this trade is running around a 1 to 1.78. So around a 1 to 1.8, okay? In terms of targets, we've got this main target here at about a 1 to 2. Ultimate targets are going to be 1 to 2.8 down at these sort of liquidity, to target the liquidity resting below here. So this is your first target, second target down here. I have took a little bit of profit off the table at about a 1 to 1.5. So we're doing very, very well. And this is the very textbook setup where, you see that deviation, see the reclaim, entries around here, clear and validation above the swing high. You can see we went into a little bit of drawdown here, but ultimately prices started shifting back to the downside. Okay, so great trade here. Let's just jump over to the Twitter just so I can show you guys, this was taken in real time. So I've got all the receipts here. So, I am short USD JPY, deviation and reclaim, invalidation will cut above this level here. Targets are these swings that I've just showed you, mapped out there. Okay, so you can see here, this is the receipts. We smashed USD JPY, well done guys. And ultimately, this trade is playing on. So live updates were put on the Twitter, on X, link below. Also, I'm going to start putting some analysis into the Telegram as well. Okay, but the main thing is the Twitter. That's where I get the instant sort of quick market executions and trade ideas across on. So Twitter's very, very, very fast for that. Okay, so USD JPY, that is currently playing out. So I'm not really looking for anything extra on this at the moment, just really allowing that trade to ultimately play out. So now let's drop down to another pair here. This is USD CHF, okay? Daily perspective. So let's start off with our mapping that we use, okay? So we've got the fractals applied to the chart here. So type in indicators fractals, apply that racial underscore T, fractals, add that to your chart. You know the drill by now. Currently what we've done is we've swept this liquidity below this daily fractal here, okay? So essentially the trade idea would be a reclaim of this level, reclaim, retest, and then we can look for some continuation to the upside because we could classify this as a deviation, reclaim, and then we can look for a continuation. Okay, let's drop down to the 4 hour to map this out on exactly what we would be looking for. Okay, so let's mark on our point of liquidity. So that was this area here. So essentially what we've done is we've broke below, we've ran all this liquidity to the downside here. Anybody that was looking to buy this market early, their stop losses are sat below this level. So now what I want to see is, can we aggressively reclaim above 0.9 psychological level? If so, then I'll look for a retest, and then I'll have clear and validation below the swing low, and then I'm going to look to target sort of mid-range around here, and then the ultimate target's going to be this liquidity up at the highs. You see, you've got multiple tops here, sort of a triple top area. So there's going to be a lot of liquidity resting above there. So trade idea for USD CHF will look something like this. This is something that could play out tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. Okay, so Tuesday or Wednesday, and it would look something like this. So once we see the low put in, we can look for the reclaim of this level, and then we can look to target. You've got this first point of liquidity here. You've got liquidity resting above here, and then you've got ultimate targets, which will be up at range highs. So that's how I'm going to be trading USD CHF if this does present itself. Okay, of course, you don't want to be blindly buying off these levels. You want to see price put a convincing bottom in the market, and then you've got clear invalidations, and you've got your clear targets as well. Okay, right, so that's USD CHF. That's the sort of 4-hour perspective, along with the daily perspective for our higher time frame. Next, let's look at the S&P 500. Very, very interesting here. So we had this big daily fractal low. Let's mark that on for you guys here. Big daily fractal low. And when we drop to the 4-hour, so we've ran this liquidity resting below this fractal low here. We've run that liquidity convincingly. It's sort of corrected below, which is good to see because, price isn't impulsively moving. It's just sort of correctively moved below that level. Now we've seen a convincing reclaim and break back above this level on the S&P. Therefore, we're looking for a bid off this area, and you've got a stop loss below here. This is your clear invalidation. In terms of targets, you're going to look to run this liquidity up to the highs. Risk to reward isn't great on this because your sort of liquidity sweep was very, very large. So you have a big sort of invalidation area. First target is certainly going to be up at these daily highs here, and then ultimately some further continuation. So you could probably squeeze like a 1 to 2 out of this, but a lot of your profit's going to be coming off at these sort of major highs coming in at 5,350, okay, on the S&P. So we've seen that deviation, seen that reclaim, and yeah, pretty textbook setup. I personally don't trade the S&P 500, but this is what you're going to be looking for if you're just using it as sort of a bias, or maybe you guys do dabble or get involved with the S&P. But very, very textbook, big liquidity sweep and reclaim. I'm not too fond of trend lines. You can see we have broke that to the upside, and we've also broke this minor structure here, this internal structure, where you can see price, made a low, then we made a lower low, sell off. This is the most recent structural lower high in the market. We've now just broke above that. So, the trend has shifted. Whether buyers look to hold this level, I have no idea, but I do know the probabilities have now shifted to the long side on the S&P. Okay, deviation reclaim, you can look to bid that back to the upside. Okay, that's S&P 500, crystal clear. Now NZD USD. Let's just jump in here. Okay, so daily perspective, daily higher time frame perspective. We've just run this daily fractal high. Okay, we've run that liquidity to the upside. Now the question is, are sellers going to step back into this market and close back below this level? So if we can see a sort of fairly immediate reclaim back below 0.61700, if we can see a reclaim of this area, we can look for a retest, and then we can look to short that. Targets, you've got a sort of mid-range area here, and then ultimate targets you've got down at range lows down here. So in terms of a trade setup, it would look something like this. Okay, so we've seen the deviation. Okay, we've seen price run this liquidity. So is this a deviation? That'll be confirmed by if we can get the reclaim, and that'll be the confirmation once we retest. You've got clear invalidation above swing highs on the 4-hour. Targets, you've got first target around just over a 1-to-1, and then ultimately you're going to be looking at a 1-to-3 down to running this liquidity. You can also see you've got quite a few sort of equal lows coming in down here as well. So these are going to be your ultimate targets, running that liquidity, which is resting below these swing lows here. So there's a lot of stop losses and liquidity below there. Okay, so we've run this. This is the sort of sell setup that I'm going to be looking at taking if it does present itself on NZD USD. So look for a reclaim of 0.61600. If so, you've got mid-range targets, and then you've got ultimately back down to the lows, that sort of double bottom area. There'll be a lot of liquidity resting below there. Okay, NZD USD mapped out. Now let's look at another trade that I'm in. So I'm currently in 2 trades, USD JPY, which I covered initially, and this is the second trade that I'm taking. Is okay, daily perspective. Let's get this crystal clear. Okay, let's just map this out. I just want to show you guys on Twitter as well. To capital Twitter, correlated play, of course, with USD JPY. Short on the cards, deviation reclaim a hold below, essential swing fail, clear and validation cut above range highs. That's this here. And then ultimate targets you've got down at the lows there. So this was my Twitter play that I put in real time. And let's just show you guys step by step why I've took the trade and also what we can be looking for to manage this trade. Or you may actually get an entry, depending on the time that you do see this setup. But do remember, these setups are very time sensitive. Okay, very time sensitive. So what we have is this big daily swing level here, double top area, liquidity resting clearly, very, very clearly above this sort of double top area. Double top, lots of liquidity resting above here. All of the stop losses are above here. Okay, what we've seen is price, or essentially institutions have came up to this level. Why do we not blindly short off this level? Because, as you can see, these stops have been liquidated. We've ran above this level. We've ran this liquidity above this area. We've impulsively moved off this level. So we've broke strongly off this level. Therefore, the entries on the retest, these are your premium prices where you can look to sell off. You've got clear and validation above this level here. Clear and validation, and then ultimately, at the moment, price is moving at a 1 to 1.5. We're doing very, very well. And ultimate targets, for me personally, are going to be at this sort of double bottom region here. So this is on the hourly. There's certainly liquidity resting below here. The sort of double bottom area. In terms of what we broke, so as I said, trend lines are not too important. They are a certain confluence that you can use. However, the main confluences are these horizontal key areas, okay? However, we can see we've broke this trend impulsively to the downside here, and therefore we can look for the retest of our key area. Stop loss above, clear and validation. You've got sort of a sort of equal low area here at 96,300. Maybe a first area to start scaling out, okay, at a 1 to 2. And then, as I said, you've got really a lot of, if you get below there, you've got clean traffic here. You're going to be running back down to 95,900, okay, down to them lows there. So this was also called on Twitter. Let's pop over here. This was the short and the update here, triggered here. And then these are the trades that are, ultimately running here. So that's NZD JPY. Certainly sell bias at the moment. There's no reason to be anything other than that. In terms of a long setup, really what we would need to see is if we can come down to 95,400 down at these daily lows here, and we can look for a deviation and reclaim up off the bottom of the range. So that would look something like this. So we could play shorts down to the bottom, deviation, and then if we could look for a reclaim, retest, and we could look for a bounce back to the upside. Okay, but ultimately, I don't think that's something that's going to play out. Maybe Thursday, Friday this week, but probably something that may play out next week. Okay, but certainly something to pay attention to. Another trade here. I don't just want to show you guys winning trades, This was another trade that we took, NZD CHF. I want to show you guys some, in-depth analysis on what you can actionably trade. Okay, so NZD CAD, we've had this daily sweep to the upside. We've broke above there. Okay, this is on the daily perspective. We've run that liquidity. Now, what we certainly need to see is if we can get back below this key area here. We can classify that as a deviation reclaim and then we can look to short that to the downside. So that would look something like this. Back below, we want to see an impulsive break. Then we can look for a retest and look to short that back down to the bottom of the range. Your trade would look something like this. Entry on that key area, stop loss above above your deviation, back down to this double bottom at range lows is a 1 to 1.5. So, risk to reward isn't incredible on this, but certainly something to take a look at. So if we can reclaim this area 83, let's call it 84 on the dot, that'll be bearish for NZD CAD, and you can look for the trade back down to the the downside there. NZD CAD, that's that covered. Next pair, GBP USD. Okay, so we're sort of approaching range highs here. We haven't swept the liquidity as of yet. Okay, so this is the area that we're looking to sweep. Basically, we need to watch this area on GU, which is 1.28 key level. If we can deviate that level, manipulate, reclaim impulsively, we can look for a retest. Around this area, you can look to short that back down to the bottom of the range. So you've got this area down here, double bottom area. That's going to be your points of liquidity where you're going to be looking at targeting. So, something like this on GU. As I said, we need to see the deviation first. We need to analyze and watch price as we break above this level and really see how price reacts from there. Okay. But your setup would look something like this on GU. So this is the hourly perspective. You want to see clear manipulation above the highs, deviation back below, reclaim, and then you're back short and down. Probably sort of mid-range as a target, first target, and then you've got bottom of the range as your final sort of target there, something like that. Okay, so as I said, you need a bit more price action to present itself in order to get a super accurate sort of trade that you'll be taking on GBP USD. Let's look at Euro USD. So popping over to the Twitter, I know this is a bit back and forth, guys, just bear with. Okay. So here, where is it? Just here. Okay. So Euro USD, I don't think you can get any clearer than this, right? I am long Euro USD, daily deviation and reclaim, clear and validation below, low, target range highs and price discovery. It doesn't get much simpler than that, right? So what I was referring to was we seen the deviation below here. We seen that reclaim. Okay, let's mark on our point of interest. This was the deviation here. Deviation below this key level. Reclaim on the close back above on the 4 hour. Entries on the retest right here. Clear and validation below the lows. Okay, and targets are range highs. Okay, 1 to 3.4, absolutely smashed. Okay, and it doesn't get any more simpler than that. Okay, look at the analysis that was posted here. EU long on the retest, right? Deviation reclaim, simple as that. All right, you can see the updates here. His price is sort of playing on. Okay, so these patterns repeat themselves over and over and over again. Okay, it's all about just being patient, waiting for the setups to present themselves, the strategy, the rules, okay, i.e. the deviations, reclaims, confirmations, etc. Clear logical invalidations and clear targets for exiting the trade. So you've got clear entry, clear exit, and you've got clear invalidations. Okay, simple as that. One other thing I just want to share for full transparency, because I want to be as open as possible. I was looking for longs on GBP NZD. We had this deviation and reclaim of this daily fractal low here. Okay, let's mark this on. So this was the key level here. Okay. Deviation here, reclaim. Strong convincing closes back above. Entries were on this retest. We actually managed to get a 1-to-1 out of this trade. However, I didn't manage to move my stops to break even, so I was actually stopped out on this trade. Some of you guys may have took some profit off at a 1-to-1. Some of you guys may have got stopped off a break even. But is what it is. Move on to the next trade, guys. Okay. And this was also posted on the Twitter as well. So it's not like I'm just posting winners all the time. Okay. We do actually have losing trades. Okay. So let's see what else we have to cover here. Let's see what we have. GBP AUD. Okay. Looking very, very good on the daily in terms of what we can actually trade. So what you have really is this sort of double top area here. Let's mark both of them on. They're pretty much the same high, as you can see here. So what we're going to be looking for on GBP AUD, push up into these range highs, deviation, reclaim, convincing reclaim, entries on the retest, short, middle of the range, then target range lows. Okay, so you've got a lot of liquidity resting above this double top on the 4-hour time frame. Because, retail, they see this as a retail pattern. Okay, short the double tops, what have you. We're looking for them to be manipulated out. Then we can look to play within this market, within this range. It would look something like this. Let's mark on the POI. This is on the 4-hour on GA. You're looking for something like this, guys. Okay, deviation reclaim. Okay, stop loss above the deviation, mid-range, and then range lows as an ultimate target. You've got this sort of double bottom area on the 4-hour. That's going to be your ultimate target. So needs a bit of time to sort of cook and progress and marinate, I guess, on GA, but certainly a setup that I'm going to be looking at taking. Okay. Let's see here. What else have we got to give you guys? This is sort of playing out. So that's pretty much everything that I do want to cover in this video. Okay. Let's just jump in at gold, actually. Let's jump in at gold, because I know a lot of you guys like gold, and it's a very, very volatile asset that we can trade effectively. Okay, so daily high and low on your fractals there. What we've seen, essentially, I didn't manage to get an entry on this today. I was looking for this. We seen a deviation here below this daily fractal, big daily deviation, and a very instant reclaim. See how we see the deviation? Within 2 candles, we're back above this level. However, you can see this wick down. We were very, very close from getting tagged in. We only needed it a little bit lower. We had clear invalidation below the swing here. And then you've got targets. You've got this first swing area here. This is where a lot of profit will be taken. And then you've got ultimate range highs up at here on the 4-hour at 2360, 2363. So ultimately price right now is a 1 to 1.8. Profit off the table at a 1 to 2. And then you've got a bit more continuation, 1 to 2.5 is an ultimate target. So bit unlucky with this. We've seen the deviation. You can see how close if we drop to the hourly. Once we got this close back above, we got the wick down, but we were just, very, very close from getting wicked in. But that's okay, guys. Understand that there's going to be another trade around the corner. There's a lot of other setups that may be presenting themselves in the near future. So you don't want to get FOMO and start buying this market once it's already had this crazy move. All right. Stick to your plan, stick to your thesis, and just ensure that you're following your exact rule-based strategy, because ultimately that's what provides the probabilistic approach. That's what provides, the accurate probabilities on giving you that actual edge in the market. Okay, so don't go FOMOing in once you've seen this huge move, because this is the move, guys. This is what we're looking at catching. Okay, so a bit of a lesson there in terms of just trade your plan, guys. Be patient. And set your alerts. Wait for opportunities to come to yourself. Okay, so that's everything that I wanted to cover in this video, and these are the outlooks that I'm personally looking at trading. As I said, if you want live, up-to-date, instant access to what I'm actually personally trading, drop down in the Telegram and drop into my X account, which is linked below as well. Okay, as I said, Telegram, is very, very good. However, the Twitter and my X account is where I share my instant trade executions. Okay, so that's it for this one. Please like, comment, and subscribe, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, take care, guys. Bye bye.